Hey, what's up everybody? So today we are going to be putting together the WHAMBAM Hotbox. And I believe I got the size to go on a Ender 3. And I have my Ender 3 here. But we're going to put this thing together and then we will see where we go from there. Maybe we'll try to catch it on fire. It's supposed to be fire resistant, right? We shall see. Alright, welcome back everybody. Boom! The WHAM Hotbox is here. And we need to open it. It comes in good packaging. I believe it shipped from Shenzhen. And where a lot of stuff comes from nowadays. And not sure how to open this thing, but we're gonna try. There's tape and plastic everywhere. Where the actual maybe that's the opening. This is probably the opening. Mute my phone just in case it goes off, because we all know how Rosa is. Holy cow, this stuff stuck good. Can we just do that? Yeah, we can do that. Oh, my cookies. Wham bam! Alright, so I believe these things are $116 or $119. Something around there. I will say, full disclosure, Wham Bam sent me this free of charge. I don't know if that's considered a sponsored video, I don't know. But I will give my full honest opinion on things. Hopefully they're good opinions, because maybe Wham won't send me anything in ever again. But anyways, so right out of the box, there are Wham logos everywhere on all the little flaps. And these are pull tabs for Velcroed slots. Another one here. It looks like it has 5 ports there for a filament entry, and 1 port over here for filament entry, and 1 point over here for filament entry. And looks like all sides have ports for filament entry, which is always a good thing, because we always want to get the filament to our printers, right? So this seems pretty easy to set up. It's got zippers somewhere. Here we go. So as you can see, there's a zipper here. So there's like no poles or anything that need to be ran through it or anything like that. And the sides are fairly stiff, so it holds itself up. Now I don't know what other enclosures that have come out recently are like, as far as what they're made out of. But this seems like a canvasy type cover on it. Now these difficulties in zipping it and everything are completely on me because I'm trying to get good angles on the camera, and angles over function is not the best way to do things sometimes, so we'll just get this done. So that's it. 2 zippers, unfolding, it's complete, and like I said, it's sturdy. I don't know what's on the inside of it. The outside cloth, canvasy stuff is pretty cool. The inside, now this, I believe, is supposed to be fire resistant, probably not fireproof. We're going to test its fireproof ability soon. It does have a temperature gauge right there. It's in Celsius. I don't see any buttons on the front or the back to change it to Fahrenheit for those who want it in a Fahrenheit temperature. But it's secured in there pretty decently. And yeah, this is kind of neato. And from the looks of it, it's got a Velcro thing up here too, so you can keep it open with the flap. Now right now the temperature says it is 22.3 degrees Celsius in here. We're going to pull the Ender 3 over here. We're going to move my keyboard out of the way. And I need to push this forward just a little more. Awesome sauce. Move the camera down a little bit. So you can see it fits the Ender 3 nicely. On the side over here, it's got where the plug can just come out whichever direction you have the plug going. There is even one on the back, so on both sides in the back there's a little plug flap, we're going to call it. And I don't have Octoprint set up on this thing, so let's take this off for a second so we can turn this on and set a temperature, and we're going to see how many minutes it takes to warm up a little bit. Let's see, we'll take, now see, I know they said that at a bed at 130 degrees, heated it up to 50 in less than 20 minutes, in 15 minutes, something like that. Now I print basically with 60 for PLA, 80 for PETG, so we'll go in the middle and go to 70 degrees. We'll go to main, info screen. So we're going to let that get up to 70 degrees first. And you know, this is an Ender 3, so it's not super fast at heating up the bed. Kind of wish I had one of these in the size of my Sidewinder, but I don't. And the thing with these enclosures, you don't really want them to get super, super hot anyways. Because basically your electronics that'll be in the enclosure can get hot. You don't want them too hot. And so these enclosures are really to keep the temperature stable around your print and to prevent breezes. I don't know if many of you, like me, have my printers in here with a ceiling fan on. Sometimes my air conditioner's on. Causes cool breezes. And if you're printing things like ABS, something that prints higher temp and needs good layer bonding, that breezes can cause issues with. I know ABS and ASA personally I've had experiences with warping and layers coming apart. So that's really what these enclosures are about. And they do have other enclosures out there, like the lactable enclosures that Prusa put out, and I know Printed Solid has some acrylic enclosures for various printers, and Creality, I believe, came out with their kind of enclosure thing like this. Again, I don't know what it's made out of, so I don't know the quality of it. This one seems to be pretty good quality of the fabric, whatever fabric's on the outside of it. And we're up to 64C. And we're going to test the anti-fireability, flammability, whatever you want to call it, here shortly after we test this. How hot does it heat up, and how long, and how stable is it? So I'm probably just going to monitor this for the next hour, and I'll put the camera on it so you guys can monitor the temp for the next hour. Promise I will fast forward through the hour so you guys don't actually have to sit through an hour watching this video at a boring temperature gauge. So, alright, we're up to 70 degrees on the bed. I'm just going to move it back some. Yep, it's hot. Rosa, you didn't see me burn myself. And let's get this out of the way. Put the cover on. And again, I'm going to show you guys I'm not going to show you anything right now. My camera cord is caught on the monitor. So now I will show you guys the temperature gauge. It's currently 23.1 Celsius at T-0. We will see what it goes up to at T- whatever. So I'll be back in an hour and we'll see what the temperature's at. I just wanted to do a 30-minute update. As you can see, we are now at 27.5 degrees Celsius in 30 minutes. And we will check again at 60 minutes. Alright, so we are back. Our hour is up. And we are sitting at 27.9 degrees. And again, like I said, my bed is only sitting at 70 degrees C. So in an hour, it's raised it 4 or 5 degrees Celsius. I think we started at 23, didn't we? One other thing that I did, because as we know, heat rises. And I slipped in another temperature gauge. It's currently setting at 87.9 degrees Fahrenheit. and I will calculate that to Celsius, and I'll show you guys what it was at when I slipped it in at the beginning. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this off, and we'll see how fast that drops down. Like I said, it's sitting at 27.9 right now. I'm actually gonna turn that upside down because, like we said, heat rises, and again, we didn't want to get too hot anyways, because when it does get too hot, you have the problem that you can damage your electronics. As of right now, the frame's warm, not cool like it usually is, and our temp gauge is slowly going down. It's at 27.8 right now. But that's the 1 hour at 80 degrees Celsius bed. If you wanted to heat it up faster, you could definitely do so by setting the bed temp higher. And again, these enclosures are good for setting a temperature that is going to be consistent throughout the entire print, not necessarily to heat up your box too much. I believe somebody told me once you hit 45 degrees Celsius or above, it's really bad for your electronics. So you don't want it too hot anyways. I'm guessing with some higher temp filaments that may require even hotter ambient temperature, maybe you'll want to go higher than that. But again, I believe you want to stay below 45 degrees Celsius to not damage your electronics. Now, I am going to print with this in a future video. Print with it on. Maybe I'll print some ABS or something. And so I'll come back and revisit this. And I did say I was going to do a fire test, and I'm going to. It is dark outside, so I am not going to do it outside. Don't tell Rosa, because she told me I'm not allowed to set things on fire in the house anymore. But we're going to do it anyways. And again, I don't want to completely destroy this box because I am going to find it useful. It is a pretty pricey box, even though, again, I did not pay for this. WHAM sent me one to review. But we're going to get out our flamethrower, and we're going to do a small burn test just to see if the insulation would stop a fire if your enclosure or if your printer were to set fire, and see what happens. Now there's two things I'm going to test on this, because when it is together, there is cloth on the inside along the seams. You can't see that. Along the seams here and here. So there is the cloth inside, and then there's the reflective material here. So again, not going to blowtorch, not going to completely destroy it, because I do want to use this thing. But we will test both the flammability of this material here and the flammability of the material here. And as of right now, this stuff on the side, it's getting smoother You can see it smoking now, and I don't know if my finger's in the way. See it smoking now. It's not catching fire though. It is, ow, 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 ow. It is flame resistant, but you can see that I've made it partially through the material, the silver material, and it was getting through to the outer side, the cloth. It did not catch fire. It did start smoking. Had it got to the outside of the cloth, I don't know if it would have just completely gone up. And I'm actually curious now. Maybe we'll do some more flame tests. Where's my burn area? Alright. Because I don't think it's... I don't know. I don't know what this board is. My thumb started catching fire before I got all the way through it. But whatever this board is on the inside of the metallic covering or whatnot, we're going to catch things on fire until they catch fire or they don't. That way I'm not giving a complete review that's not completely accurate. So I've got my hand on the back side. I'm trying to feel for heat, and I am starting to feel heat now to the point where I almost can't touch it. And again, the inside, so far it's not catching fire, but it is getting through to the outside. And I can feel from the outside that the hole is, the flame is almost to the outer canvas cloth area. But this has taken a while. If a fire is lasting, if a fire is lasting this long on your printer, you might be in trouble anyways. Starting to see some smoke come out the hole that we burn on the other side. And now I think we've almost reached the outside. There's smoke on the outside now. The actual enclosure, if I pull the flame away, it's not keeping lit. The outside is melting though now, and there is smoke. And at that point, it is, once it reaches that outside material, it is flame staying lit by itself again now. So there is a point to where it does finally get to catching fire, and as you can see, there's smoke coming out the outside, and that continued to stay lit until I just blew it out. Now you see we have a hole all the way through. Ow, 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 ow. So we do have an extra cooling hole now, and I'm gonna let that completely cool off. I'm gonna test the actual cloth on the side here now to see how that goes. Hang on, I gotta turn my fan off. That will stop this flame blowing back on my thumb. And just that little bit of time that I did put the flame to it, it made a hole. So the black material is flammable. So if fire catches on that, it probably would spread. And seeing that this would be set like this if it was over a printer, and printer catches fire, flames go up, it would hit the top metal part here. And if the flames were consistent, like I said, it did go through and start hitting that black fabric. So my guess is this thing would catch fire. Whether it would let in enough oxygen for the fire to stay lit, I'm not sure. The fire may consume itself. And then of course these rubber parts, might as well try those as well. Yeah, the rubber parts are, well, it was flammable. Let's see if it stays lit. Yeah, so the rubber parts also flammable. And so my honest review in WHAM, Peter, Melinda, don't hate me. I hope you don't hate me. I love reviewing your guys' products. As an enclosure to keep the temperature, ambient temperature around your printer for your printability of like ABS or ASA or the types of filaments that do require a stable ambient temperature and to stop the breezes from going over your prints from the overhead fans or air conditioners or whatever. I call this absolute success for that. Again, it would raise temperature higher if it were your bed was hotter. I'm sure with your hot end on as well, it would also raise the temperature faster. And I fully endorse it for an enclosure. So, fire resistant, yes. Fireproof, no. Again, it all depends if direct flame hits this, and how long the flame is going for that stays in contact with it. So I'm going to give that judgment call on you guys, whether it is resistant enough to not catch fire if your printer catches on fire. But this is still usable. Do have some interior damage, but very minimal exterior damage. And again, Peter, Melinda, WHAM, don't hate me. Just doing my due diligence. It is fire resistant. I will, as I'm doing this video, I will set a timer or show a timer to show how long it did actually take to catch fire and burn through the wall. And that was direct flame against it. If you look at a printer that has, like the Ender 3, that has an all metal frame, then the flames will probably not directly hit the enclosure to catch it on fire. Some of the printers that shall remain nameless that have caught on fire, that have acrylic frames, the acrylic probably would catch fire and cause a direct flame to hit the enclosure. It would really kind of depend where the fire started. If it was at the hot end, probably hit thermal runaway. The flames may creep up the wire harness, but they wouldn't go too far as hitting direct flame onto the enclosure. If it started at the electronics board or the PSU, depends how close they are to the side of the enclosure, I guess, whether they would catch the enclosure on fire. So we're going to say the enclosure is plausible as long as there's no direct fire contact to sustain the fire. So yeah, there's my WHAMBAM Hotbox unboxing and review. Fire resistant, not fireproof. Definitely good for keeping the ambient temperature on your printer and heating up on the inside for your plastics that you're printing with that do require higher temperatures and no breezes. But thank you guys for watching, and visit me at alien3d.us and check out all the things. Thank you very much. Peace out.